Hey everyone, I'm David.
And I'm Ro.
And this is Sweetie. And a little over 3 years ago, we made a video talking about whether or not full-time RVing was worth it in our opinion. Now, we had only been on the road for about 6 months when we made the video, but now we have been full-time RVers for 4 years. And so we think that it would be a really good idea to revisit that topic since we have so much more experience. And, I think we have a much better idea now of whether full-time RVing is worth it or not.
The reason we became full-time RVers nearly 4 years ago was because we were really tired and felt just completely trapped by the 9-to-5 grind, We were tired of spending every day, Monday through Friday, working in a cubicle separate from each other. We would get home in the evenings and we would have about 4 hours before bed to unwind, but we were both tired or exhausted from the workday, and then we would have the weekends to hang out together, but typically the weekends had to be filled with doing chores, and so we didn't really have a whole lot of time to spend together, and we didn't work together. So full-time RVing was our way of being able to spend every moment together. David and I are best friends, and that still rings true today. I would never do this with anyone else if I didn't have David with me. And being able to hit the road has given us that freedom of spending every waking moment together.
What about that?
What about this?
Yeah.
Well, this baby, she just can't get enough. She's such a ham. You like spending every day with me? Huh? Yeah. I get doggy baths constantly now. Every single day, huh? All day long. Every day, all day, huh? In the video we put out 3 years ago, we originally said that the best part of full-time RVing was the freedom that it gave us. And we decided to sit down and ask ourselves, do we still feel that way? Is freedom still the best part of full-time RVing? And we have come to the conclusion that hands down, without a doubt, the freedom that full-time RVing gives us is just the best. It outweighs every other positive aspect and bad aspect of full-time RVing. It is just the shining beacon that makes all of this so much fun. The freedom I'm talking about that full-time RVing gives us is it gives us the freedom to make our own work schedule. It gives us the freedom to completely control our day-to-day lives. From the time we wake up to the time we go to bed, we have complete control over every aspect of our lives. But the thing that I absolutely love the most, and I know that David does too, is that if you think about it, we spend every waking moment together, from the time we wake up to the time we fall asleep, and even overnight. And the amount of lifetimes that we are able to spend together compared to the average married couple who have to work 9 to 5 for most of their life and don't get to spend all this time together is astronomical. I am so incredibly thankful that I get to spend so much of my life with my absolute best friend.
Now, as far as what the worst part of full-time RVing is we originally thought that the worst part was uncertainty. And what I mean by that is mainly the uncertainty of the campsites you're going to be arriving at. Ro and I boondock primarily, and so we're not going to campgrounds that have you know exactly what you're getting ahead of time. We're going out into the national forests, out into the deserts, and so we don't really know for certain if we're going to fit into a site, if it's going to be level enough for us to level our trailer, or if it's taken. It might even be taken when we get there, and now what do we do? And then there's also uncertainty of weather, and where do you get water, and where do you dump your tanks at, and what we found now that we've been traveling for 4 years now, we've just gotten so much more experience that we really know what we're getting into before we arrive at a campsite. We're able to figure enough out online, and on top of that, the uncertainty of the site itself that we have picked out doesn't really bother us because we know that we're gonna be able to find a spot somewhere. We've had very little issues with that in these 4 years. So what we think the worst part is now has totally changed. And it's actually different for Ro and I. What I now feel the worst part about full-time RVing is I just have this insecurity about our RV's security. I don't really know why. There's no real reason. Nothing really bad has ever happened to us. But just over the years, I've just gotten more and more insecure when we leave our site and we leave our pets and our trailer and all of our belongings. I just worry about it so much more now. Definitely more than if we had a house. And I don't know why I feel that way. Because typically we're completely alone, you know? We're like miles from the nearest person and no one knows we're out there. So it just doesn't really make much sense. Ro, however, has an actual concrete reason for what her new worst part about full-time RVing is, and that is getting medical care on the road. You know, our health insurance only covers us in our home state of Indiana. And so if we're out on the road, we don't have health insurance. Like Ro has had a number of medical conditions that she's needed care for, and just trying to get care for that on the road is just, it's either impossible or it's just such a pain and we have to pay full price out of pocket for it. And yeah, through trying to get these issues diagnosed and get care for them, we've really found that, yeah, if you have some medical problems and you want to become a full-time RVer, it's gonna be kind of a pain. Our solution to it though has been to like line up all of our appointments, just boom, 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 for when we're back home for like a month or so, and just try and get it all taken care of. But in the meantime, if you're having issues between, you know, when you're gonna be home, or where you're at now and when you're gonna be home, you gotta tough it out, I guess. Before we go any further though, I want to tell you about this video's sponsor, 3-in-1's RVcare Rubber Seal Conditioner, which we use regularly on all of our seals, our door seals, our window seals, and the seals on our storage bay doors to protect them from the elements. 3-in-1 RVcare Rubber Seal Conditioner is specifically designed to condition and protect all types of RV rubber seals, including those on slide-outs, doors, windows, and compartments. Its long-lasting, water-resistant formula reduces friction and wear. Its special UV shield prevents cracking and fading and can help extend the life of your seals. And the Rubber Seal Conditioner is super easy to apply. You just spray it directly onto the surface you want to protect, and then wipe that off with a towel, spread it around, and just like that, your seals are protected from the elements. And if you want information on where to find the 3-in-1 RVcare Rubber Seal Conditioner, we've got that information down in the description below.
Two things we touched on in the original video that I want to touch on again in this video were something we thought was going to be easy when we hit the road but ended up being hard, and something we thought that was going to be hard when we hit the road but ended up being easy. And the thing that we thought was going to be easy when we hit the road was finding water. And yes, when we made that original video, that was the case. Without a doubt, the hardest thing for us was trying to find fresh water. But now that we have 4 years of experience, that actually is no longer the case. Water is one of the easiest things for us to find, and I have a couple reasons for that. When we first hit the road, you know, we instantly traveled out east where, you know, the population is a lot more dense. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't have access to some websites that we have access to now, and we also didn't know that there were some very specific companies that we could find on the road that would help provide us with fresh water. But now we do. Things like Maverick fueling stations typically have a dump station. Sometimes it's free. Sometimes they'll have a full dump station with water and rinse water, all that good stuff. Truck stops. A lot of truck stops have drinking water available or fresh water available. And we didn't know that when we first hit the road. And actually when we put out that video, we had not yet learned that even truck stops could have fresh water. So, and we also have access to a website that didn't exist back then, which is rvdumpsites.net. If you've never used it, it's a pretty good resource. We really enjoy it. As for the thing that we thought was going to be hard when we hit the road, but ended up being easy, it actually still rings true. And that is, we thought that it would be really hard to have enough power while boondocking to run our lives. And Back then we were surprised at how easy it was, and now even though our power consumption has increased because, you know, now we want to run our refrigerator on our solar, you know, on those really sunny days, and so we've added, you know, an extra solar panel to the roof, we have an expansion panel outside, and our power needs are beyond met. We never struggle with it anymore, and if we do get a string of cloudy days, we just grab our generator, and it has a propane conversion on it, so it's super easy to hook up to our propane tank so we can run our AC, everything we need on it. It's really great, and if you guys want to watch the video on the propane conversion, there'll be a link for that down in the video description below for you. But yeah, being able to completely run our lives off of solar sounds like it was going to be like this astronomically hard project. It was going to be something we would struggle with on the daily, and now it's just something that just does its thing. It's really absent-mindedly in just off all on its lonesome, and we never have to worry about it. It's amazing how awesome our solar system has been for us.
Up until this point, we've been revisiting the video that we made after being on the road for only 6 months and how we felt then versus now. But now we're going to talk about if we still feel like full-time RVing is worth it after being on the road for 4 years. Now, in our opinion, there are 3 main reasons why people become full-time RVers. You know, there's financial, emotional/spiritual, and adventure. The first we'll touch on is financial. One of the main reasons people become full-time RVers is because if this lifestyle is done right, you can save a ton of money, and just your cost of living can be so much lower than if you are in a sticks and bricks home. And for us, that's exactly how it's been. We've been able to cut our costs extremely low, mainly because we primarily boondock in the national forest and on BLM land, but purely because the space that we live in is so small, we are forced to be minimalist. Now, we really already enjoyed the minimalism type lifestyle, but like I said, living in, you know, a 24 feet by 8 foot trailer, it's, you know, this is less than 200 square foot of an entire living space. You know, we really have to pick and choose the things that we buy. If we're going to buy something, at this point, it has to replace something because we really don't have any room for anything else. And so if we're buying something new, we really better need it. And on top of that, full-time RVing has allowed us to be completely debt-free. When we sold our house, we had a little bit of equity in it, and so we were able to buy this economy-style trailer, you know, a small 24-foot travel trailer with cash from the sale of our house. And we were also able to buy our truck, which is an older truck. It's a 2004. So, you know, when we bought it, it was 13 years old. And, you know, so we were able to buy an older truck and a small economy trailer with the cash that we had from the sale of our house. And, you know, we didn't have any credit card debt, anything like that. So full-time RVing has allowed us to live completely debt-free, which is incredible. And so is the financial aspect, has that been worth it for us after 4 years? Absolutely, without question.
The second main reason people typically become full-time RVers is the emotional/spiritual aspect of it. And what we mean by the spiritual aspect of it is we essentially get to spend our entire existence out in the middle of nowhere, completely surrounded by nature. The sounds, the sights, the weather, the temperature, you know, every single aspect of nature is so beautiful and breathtaking. It feeds our souls. It is just the best thing to be able to surround yourself with nature. It's so calming, it's so relaxing, and honestly, I don't know who would hate that much. It's nice. It also gives us the ability to spend more than just a weekend with friends and family. You know, when we worked a 9-to-5 job, I got a maximum of 10 days vacation time, and I had to spread that out between the holidays, you know, doctor's visits, stuff like that. And then even if I wanted to fly out to visit family, you know, I would only get like a maximum of a weekend. Even if I took 4 days off, 2 of those days would be spent flying from Indiana to California and then flying back. And right now we're actually spending 2 whole weeks with my dad. I have not been able to spend 2 whole weeks with my dad since 2011, guys. That's 10 years ago. It is absolutely amazing, the freedom we get to spend with friends and family. And as you guys know I touched on it earlier, but being able to spend every waking moment with my best friend does nothing but good for my emotional health. I know for David too. It's amazing. It is literally the reason we hit the road, being able to spend every single moment with my best friend. I literally can't even talk about it enough. Anytime anybody asks us what's your favorite part of full-time RVing, it's that I get to spend every day with this person. Every day. I could never take full-time RVing for granted because of that aspect alone. I get to spend more time with my best friend than the typical married couple will spend together for their whole life. By the end of my life, I will have spent multiple times of that over and over again with the love of my life. It just can't get better than that. Now, loneliness on the road is a negative emotional aspect of full-time RVing. You know, we had a lot of friends back in Indiana that we got to see all the time before we hit the road. And while we get to see other friends and family more often because our home's on wheels, we now see the people we got to see all the time much, much less. And we really only get to hang out with them whenever we go back home to Indiana. And that emotional strain of having those friendships strained has been difficult, but there are ways to mitigate loneliness on the road. You know, we have made friends with, we've had best friends on the road. Thomas and Stacy with I'm Not Lost on RVing have been just amazing people to get to know. They're awesome to hang out with. They're really fun. If you guys don't know them, go check them out. We'll put a link down in the video description below. But that's one awesome way, making friends on the road. You know, you can caravan with the people you make friends with on the road. You can make other friends on the road. For example, when we visit David's brother in Washington, his entire friend group has accepted us, and now we have all these friends in Washington that we also don't get to see except when we go visit there. So, you know, there are downsides to the emotional and spiritual aspects of full-time RVing, but for us, I don't think that those downsides can even come close to being outweighed by the positives that full-time RVing has given us. So yes, even the emotional and spiritual aspects of full-time RVing is still completely worth it for us.
And then, in our opinion, the #1 reason why people become full-time RVers is for the adventure. And for us, full-time RVing has just given us so many awesome adventures. And one of the biggest things is that since we've been able to explore so much of the United States, we have found areas that we didn't even really know existed. Like the entire Moab area, like Arches National Park and Canyonlands, just blew our minds with just the crazy, incredible, beautifully red landscapes. And then Joshua Tree National Park, just the blobby Monzo granite rock formations everywhere, and Joshua trees in general are just so weird looking. I could just go on and on about all the places that we get to, and we're like, whoa, what is this? The Badlands is another one of New Mexico. It's just crazy. It's finding all these areas that we didn't even know existed has been awesome. And then of course, the national parks, all of them are just the greatest, most epic places that our country has to offer. And every national park that we've gone to has just been so epic and grandiose. And we absolutely plan on getting to every single one in the United States. Being able to travel around, stay near the national parks, camp in the national forests near the national parks, and just drive on in at our leisure has been so fantastic, and full-time RVing gives that to us. And then exploring through the national forests and BLM land as well has been incredibly awesome. The national forests typically aren't as epically awesome and grandiose as the national parks are, but they've got that simple, untouched natural beauty, the seclusion that Ro was talking about earlier. Just, you know, you open the door to the RV in the morning, you step out and you hear nothing. Just the wind through the trees, some birds chirping, but no man-made noises at all. Mwah. That's the way I want to live my life. So has the adventure aspect been worth it for us? I think you can tell that it has been.
So concluding this video as to whether or not full-time RVing has been worth it for us, I think that it's pretty obvious that full-time RVing, without a doubt, 100% has been so completely worth it, at least for us. And
even after 4 years.
yes, and we love it. It just gives us all that freedom that we really, truly cherish. However, we want to know from you guys, for those of you that are currently full-time RVers, is full-time RVing worth it for you? What were the reasons that caused you to decide to become a full-time RVer? Are they the same as ours? And for those of you that are considering full-time RVing or fantasizing about full-time RVing, why are you drawn to it? What about full-time RVing really catches your attention?
Yeah, let us know in the comments below. And for those of you that want to hang out with Ro live, she actually has a Twitch channel. We'll go ahead and drop a link in the video description below to that. Go ahead and click on that and you can hang out with Ro. And if you guys are watching this video the day it went up, Ro's actually live streaming right now. So click that link, it'll take you over to her Twitch channel and you can hang out with her live. But that's all for this video. I hope it was helpful for you guys that are looking to become full-time RVers to decide whether or not, you know, this lifestyle might be worth it for you too. But that's all for us. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye!
She was ready. She said bye right when we said bye.
Exact same time. She's still saying bye.
I'm a good girl.